Hi. Hello. Hi, Chad.
Hello.
Hi, Chad. Hi, how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? This is so many people. I'm excited to see you all here tonight. Oh, F highlights. Huh? What's happening? What's happening, Adora? Goth woman? Oh, right. Right, I forgot. I might have done my hair a little bit differently today. I
Yeah,
posted
is
this on
there a
Twitter. I don't
reason for
know.
that,
I don't know.
Marina?
Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw how cool and edgy you were, and I thought, maybe since I'm having Spite on, I might, I get to be cool and edgy with you. I get to be like this nice juxtaposition to
We get to
Shira,
bond with
and
our goth energy. Exactly.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, but hi everyone, it's so nice to see you. I am super excited. If you're new here, if you came in from Spite's community or Shirahiko's community, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I am Marina, I'm a variety VTuber. I run this sex ed and relationship advice stream every single Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, and it's always really, really fun stuff. We have the question command going. So if you're here and you want to ask us questions, there you go. Exclamation point question will bring up that question form. And you can ask us anything you want to. The questions are anonymous. If you ask us specific questions about like a life situation and you want to stick around and give us more insight if you would like to, but otherwise everything, is anonymous and can remain anonymous if you wanted to. It's a safe place for y'all to ask questions and for us to be able to answer them. Yeah. But we normally talk about sex ed questions. If there's anything you've ever wanted to ask, get our insight on something. And also we take relationship advice. So people give us scenarios that they're in, or, maybe a friend is in, or whatever it might be, that they want us to weigh in on or give our opinion for. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm really hyped. Spite, I've known you for a while. I've had you on my stream several times. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Mwah. I've missed you. I missed you. And Shira, I'm so excited. It's the first time I've had you on my stream. So thank you so much for making time and coming by. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you about all this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just very early for me, so I'm a bit I'm a bit tired, but it's fine. It's not too bad. I'm gonna wake up.
That's okay. If you like need me to lick the crusties out of your eyes or anything, like
No,
I got
no.
I got you.
No, it's okay. Goodbye.
You should hydrate. That helps you wake up.
Oh, I'm drinking. Not alcohol, but I'm drinking.
A nice morning triple of whiskey on the rocks. Yeah, just get you going. Yeah. Yeah, or some Four Loko to wake you up and start your day. Yeah. Did you live during the Four Loko era? Did you any y'all like ever drink during the Four Loko era?
I didn't really drink
No?
Four Lokos.
Okay.
No, I was a tequila girl and a wine and tequila.
I didn't drink a lot of Four Loko, but I remember my worst, like, me understanding Four Loko was playing Four Loko Pong and realizing that Four Loko Pong was not like beer pong, and you should not play Pong with Four Loko.
That's usually how those moments happen, when you think that you can handle an alcohol the same as another alcohol, and then and then you're close to blacking out.
Yeah, you're like, oh, percentages matter? Yeah. But yeah, I'm so excited to have you both here. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, chat. How's everyone doing? I see a lot of first-time chatters, so thank you for coming on in here. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. So like I said, I'm Marina, I'm a variety VTuber. I do this every single week. You can ask us whatever questions you want to. And my background in this is I was a teacher. I've taught science, math, and sex ed, actually. So I've had a lot of experience and training in teaching sex ed, and kind of coming at this from the teacher standpoint and that sort of thing. I've had my fair share of relationships, some good, more than that bad. But yeah, we've you know, got that life experience. So you know, it's like they say, I make mistakes so that you don't have to. Hopefully.
Same here.
Yeah, Spite, you wanna give us a little bit of a introduction?
Hi, I'm Spite. I am a Cerberus VTuber, variety streamer. I also have had a lot of experiences. I'm as wild as my hair. So, you know.
I love that for you.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. It depends.
No, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Shira, tell us.
Oh yeah. I'm Shira. I'm also a variety streamer. I think I'm probably like the complete opposite to you two. I am actually pretty pure, but I've been in a relationship for like 6 years. It's my first and only relationship. But my partner is really different to me, so maybe that's gonna be some insights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And I love that, right? Like I love being able to get insight. And you're not the first person who's been on the show who is you know, says maybe I'm more say so or I'm more vanilla or whatever it might be. Like people have come from all kinds of different angles. You know, I have people who are gonna come on the show in the future who are ace. Like it really doesn't matter kind of anybody's perspective. I think it's really interesting to hear you know, the way that different people see different things, because I think everyone's opinions are valid when it comes to this stuff, and the insight is really interesting. Sometimes people look at things from a different frame of reference based on their own life experiences and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited.
I am too.
Yeah. Baba, thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate it. Chat, keep in mind, I'll try to do my best to get to stuff, and we will, you know, we'll keep an eye on chat and we'll respond to things when we can. A lot of this stuff is going to be very conversational, so we may miss out on messages and stuff like that, but we are reading stuff, and we're doing our best to keep our conversation flowing for the sake of the show, and yeah, doing all that kind of stuff. So, mwah. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready to just kind of jump in and see what we have tonight?
Yes. I'm ready, Mom Spaghetti.
All right. Okay, let's see. Again, chat, we if you would like to ask a question, if you would like to share a scenario, ! Question right here. I'll type that out. ! Question is going to give you the form so that you can ask anything. They're all anonymous. Yeah. All right, let's get to something. I feel like this is a question to start on. I literally don't even know how to take this, but we can get your insight on this.
Okay.
Usually I like to allow, my guests to start if they want to tackle something first, and then, if no one really wants to jump in, I'm always happy to. But yeah, so this is just I don't know, probably a memer question, but someone asked what is a coomer?
Me. What? Chat.
I feel like this is basically like a degenerate, right? Like isn't that what we refer to people as coomers are? People who are.
I thought it's like a simp, but with the sexual part.
Is it not? I mean, definitely, I think there's an overlap. If there was a Venn diagram of like coomers and VTuber fans, they're like almost the same circle.
I thought it was just people who coom, right? Like
I think so.
What? I thought it was people who like see someone and then they're like, but they don't really have a chance, but they're like just looking at them and then they're like, it's like, how do I say that? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture. I think Coomer is a self-identified term as well too. Someone can be like, I'm a Coomer, but yeah. All right. All right, we'll take another question. So, let's start with the light one. Is sex when you have trouble sleeping beneficial?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I don't know. Anyone want to tackle this or give some answers? Give some
I mean, I
insight or
think that
anything?
like exercise, any type of exercise that will knock you out will is good because then you sleep. Unless you're me who's an insomniac. But like that's, I think it's beneficial. You know?
Yeah. No, the way I see it is everyone's body is different, and some people are able to work out and get really tired immediately afterwards. But working out or sex or things like that usually cause like endorphins to go, and it gets your adrenaline pumping. And so sometimes it can have the opposite effect in the like immediacy of the act, where when it's happening and immediately afterwards you might be like, I'm pumped. I'm even more awake than I was before. So it kind of depends on your body. And the biggest thing for you, I feel like, is to see like what is exercise like for you? What does it do for you? It's kind of like why some people exercise and they go to the gym first thing in the morning, because it's not like they're going to tire themselves out first thing in the morning. It's like it gets the endorphins running, it gets like the blood pumping, and it gets all that stuff going. So, but like I said, everyone's different. So some people, do that, and then 10 minutes later, 10 15 minutes later, they're just like, okay, I'm done, I'm exhausted, and they pass out. So I would say it's not that easy of a question to go one way or the other. It's something like that.
Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah. All right. Oh, we have a relationship question. Let's take this one. This one says, hi there. Male 34 here. I've recently fallen in love again after a horrible breakup, which lasted in 10 plus years withdrawal. This new lady makes my heart flutter and explode. However, I've forgotten all the social graces of dating because of how bad my last one was. What should I do?
I'm not really sure what the social graces of dating are, because I feel like it just really depends who you are with. So I guess just do what you like to do and do it with them.
Yeah.
No?
I think I think the question is sort of like, I haven't been dating in a really long time, and I don't really remember how to date or what I'm supposed to do. Do you have any advice for not fucking things up or doing what I need to do? Like,
I think that knowing basic manners for dating is the most important. And I honestly, for me personally, I feel like there aren't, as long as you are being consensual and you are being polite and you are having basic manners, just be yourself, okay? It's okay to be awkward, because if someone dislikes you for being awkward, they're not the one for you, okay? That's just how it is, People shouldn't be playing games when they're in the beginning of dating, It's just be yourself.
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially if you're serious about it. Like, there's no point in trying to be someone who you're not, because in the end, you're not going to be happy. And you want to be happy, right? You want to be happy being able to be yourself with the person you love. And if you have to pretend and like play social games to be that way, it's just not meant to be, I think. I know it sounds really harsh, but and people change when they're in relationships too. It's not like you don't change a bit towards the other person you're dating. That's pretty normal, but you shouldn't force yourself to be someone who you are not completely. Yeah, I feel like.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. My advice would basically be yourself. Oh, my animatronic broke. This happens every so often. Why am I frozen? Let's reset.
Now we get to stare at you disrespectfully.
Yeah, apparently I look pissed. I don't know what happened. Someone in
It's kind of hot
chat,
though, you know. And by kinda, I mean it is.
Well, I've never had my model just completely stop. Let's see. Oh, I see what happened. Something came up on my phone. That's weird.
Oh.
Okay, am I back?
Yes, you are.
One
Kind
second,
of a
sorry.
little nut. I don't know.
I think you moved, but you're not back.
Yeah. I think we need to do like an exorcism or something.
Yeah, I think so.
You know? Maybe if I tickle her with my tail, she'll just wake back up.
It's more whacking than like tickling.
Maybe that will work too.
Wake up!
Wake up right now.
Oh, so odd. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh. Are we good?
Oh?
Am I where? Does it wanna?
No.
Ah. Okay, sorry.
No.
What? One is good. One is good. My V bridger is reading me now.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
Nice.
There we go. So strange. Sorry for that, chat. Let's Okay. Hi. Sorry. Okay. Pause. Where was I? Unpause. I mean, where we were talking about this. Yeah. Being yourself is important. Obviously. You know, being able to be true to yourself, and you don't want to like change who you are to try to attract somebody. You don't want to fake who you are in order to attract somebody. If you need to work on yourself and, you know, do things like if you want to grow to try to become a more attractive person, that's always one way to look at things, but you never want to like fake who you are, if that makes sense. So as long as you stay true to yourself and communicate, you know, it is okay and highly recommended that you know, talk to this person and just communicate. I haven't been in a relationship in 10 years. And my last one was really intense, and the breakup kind of really shook me. And so this is kind of new for me. So I'm really enjoying this. You know, like just letting someone know, letting someone be aware. Sometimes that really helps. It just helps people to understand the context of situations, I think. And people really respect and appreciate being communicated with and honesty and openness and stuff like that. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Any situation really, but yeah, especially this one.
I think also, especially as an adult, a lot of people just know, you know, because at that age, you probably already went through a few relationships. Maybe your partner did too. And even if they didn't, they also have to learn it out, right? So maybe you're in the same boat. You never know.
No, it's very true. It's very, very true. Anything else from anyone on this? Nah? Okay. We'll do another one. Okay, I see two that kind of go back and forth. Or kind of go hand in hand is what I should say. The first one is there a female version of a blowjob?
You mean cunnilingus?
Huh?
Yeah. I think what this person is asking essentially is, well, when with a penis, we know that blowjobs exist. Like oral sex on a penis is, you know, someone that it. But I guess this person understands what a blowjob is, right? Um,
Yeah.
the idea of like being oral with a penis. And what they're asking, I'm assuming, is there an equivalent with a vagina? And the answer is yes.
Yeah,
Very much.
there's yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, very,
yeah.
very much so. Yes, right. It's called the titty suck. No, that is that. It's there's more you can do than you can. The titty suck works on anybody of any gender. If you're specifically talking about like genitals, yes, there is oral that you can do on a vagina, if this is your question. And then the next
Imagine
question,
eating a grapefruit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's pretty much the same thing.
The next question is let's see when it pulls up. How much tongue when going down on a girl?
All
Anyone?
of it. Get messy. All of it.
Any take on this, Shira?
I'm gonna give it back to you.
How much
Bad.
tongue? Communicate. Ask. Everybody's different. Everybody, literally every vagina is different, right? And every person who has a vagina has different sensitivities, different feelings, different likes, different dislikes. There are some people that don't like that. The same way there's people with penises who, don't like getting oral as well. Like, some people just don't like something as much as other people do, right? Some people really love it. Yeah, I have had a lot of experience with a lot of different people. And I will say that, yeah, everyone is different. Some people, like, when you say how much tongue, like, there is the clitoris. There's the idea of, like, right, like, licking the clitoris is the idea of also, like, using your tongue on the vaginal opening. They're two different things that some people like both. Some people like one over the other. Like, some people like someone to, use their mouth on a clitoris while they use their fingers inside or something like that, right? That's pro technique.
All of it.
Yeah. So it just comes down to communication, right? There is no one right answer for how much tongue, but just, do what feels right. Try to put yourself, even if you're not a vagina haver, try to put yourself in the shoes of, like, what it might feel like and what might be nice. And understanding the body parts is important, right? Understanding that the analogous structure there with a penis is the clitoris, right? So the clitoris essentially is like a whole bunch of nerve endings and
6,000.
sensory, yeah,
Exactly.
like sensory feelings that are going to be in the penis normally, or instead for someone with a vagina, they're in the clitoris area.
If you
So
don't know where the
focusing-
clitoris is, look at your mouse. Look at your mouse. Like, I mean, like your computer mouse. You see
Okay,
it,
I'm
the
looking.
little thing where you scroll on it? That's where it is. You understand? Right
now
there.
I want to put labia on the side of my mouse. Yeah, but if it's okay to do research, gamers. If anyone is like, I'm not really familiar with vaginas, or you have had minimal experience or whatever it might be, you also, if you're gonna go down on somebody with a vagina for the first time, you don't need to just like throw yourself in there and like jump in the deep end. Like, you can take some time to play with it, take some time for foreplay before oral, explore it, look at what's going on, but yes,
Foreplay
typically
is good.
I think what's the most difficult for people when it comes to handling a vagina is not understanding that every single one is different. And you might go and look up, like, on the internet, like, vagina or whatever, and you look at something, or you look at like a diagram, and then you get the real thing in front of you and it just looks completely different, because maybe you are with someone who has much more pronounced inner labia, or someone who has much less pronounced inner labia, or like just things might look different. There are some people that have really pronounced and exposed clitorises who don't have like the hood area like kind of over it as much, and some people have it like much more kind of hidden under the hood, as we say, right? So generally something that is important if you're going to be doing that is, again, communicate, but you can put your hand, just for the newbies out there, you can put your hand on the like upper pubic mound, or pubic, where the pubic hair would be, and you can like pull the skin up towards like the belly button a little bit lightly. You don't want to do anything hard or anything. You obviously always communicate, but you can pull the skin up, and what it will naturally do when you're kind of in that area is it will pull that hood back. If you're having trouble kind of understanding what's going on, you'll be like, oh, that little thing, and then and then yeah. But what I will say also as well is, you have to imagine, if you're taking all of the nerve endings in the penis and like pinpointing them into a much smaller body part like the clitoris, it's going to be very sensitive. So doing anything on it that is like just jumping into like a really hard suck or something like that, like don't
do not be too rough.
Yeah, don't be too rough. And it's the same thing.
There is a way to go to town without, trying to destroy the town. Okay.
And usually work up to it.
You gotta remember that, like she said, like 6,000 nerves endings. Yeah. So you gotta make sure that like it's a sensitive place. Okay. So you can go. The town. Just go to town.
I love this. Once you find it, respect it. But yeah, it's like anything. So okay, if there are people in chat who don't have a vagina and you're trying to understand, imagine if someone like yanked your pants down and just began like sucking as hard as they could, out of nowhere. It would not be pleasant. It would be that's why like things get worked into. There's like a whole process of getting in the mood, getting to the place where the body part is responsive and naturally like ready to go. The same thing works. So I think some people are just like, oh, well, I mean, vaginas aren't like penises. There's not like, they don't get erect. Like they're just always ready to go, right? Like, but that's not true. The clitoris actually does get erect. People may not know that, but the clitoris actually does get erect. Now I'm not talking like it's gonna turn into a penis. I just mean it's going to have blood flow to it. The same kind of idea is gonna happen as what happens to a penis. So it is something that again does need to be like worked up to, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything yeah, go for it.
I also think that one thing to realize that's different between a blowjob and cunnilingus is that more than likely, I mean, it's not for every, it depends on the person, but I feel like for women, it takes a little bit longer to get there because women are very, it's all usually very mental for women. So with men, they could easily just like, sploosh, and that's just like something that happens like quickly, but sometimes it might take a while for you know what I'm saying. So you gotta go for a while sometimes, longer than what you think would work for you if you're a dude.
And communication, because everybody is different. Some people might take a very long time. Some people might, be able to come very quickly. Some people are able to come multiple times. Some people are able, some people come once and they're like, whoa, it's super intense for me. And I'm chill for a second. Like, let's stop. So it all just really comes down to what your what your partner likes and communicating all that. But again, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to communicate. I've never done this before, or I don't have a lot of experience before. And it doesn't matter. I've dozens of people I've been with. And every single time I'm with a new vagina, it's like the first time. Meaning I treat it like the first time because I've never been with that person, right? So I don't know what they like. I'm not going to be so presumptive to assume like, oh, the marina technique that, works for most people is going to work for this person, because it might not. Like, that's the thing. There is no one marina technique. The marina technique is communicate and figure out what this person likes, because every person's different. Yeah.
Real.
Anything to add to that?
I just wanted to agree. Oh no, you go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that it's that's very true. Like everyone's different communication with a lot of things. Like generally just the sexual stuff. It's really good to communicate, because sometimes you might think that you don't like something and then you do like something, or like the other way around, depending on who you're with and stuff. So I think that's really important to have like someone asking you questions, or you telling them that what's happening right now is not good. Because if you don't tell them, they might just continue, and then it's like, oh, I'm not having fun. So it's really important from both sides, to be honest with each other and be like, hey, let's try this, or hey, let's not do this again, so you can have fun.
Such a good point. I think that also what Mr. Zem said in chat. They said for ladies, they like a build up to a fireworks show. That is so true. That is so true. I like Marina said, it's different for each person, but often more than not, it is a build up for women. That is how it goes. Very true.
Yeah, agreed. And when it comes, like what Shiro was saying, when it comes to communicating, the fact that everyone is different, and the fact that it's okay to communicate both things, either I'm not sure what I'm doing, please give me advice, that is important. If you're the one, regardless, like you should just like make your partner feel comfortable talking to you, because a lot of people are afraid to, or embarrassed. You have to imagine your partner you may be doing something and it'd be like, oh, wow, that's really nice, but you're like just away from where I need you to be, kind of thing. And they're just too shy to be like, hey, can you like move up or move down or move, whatever it might be. Like that might be a thing, right? So just to make sure to let your partner know, like, hey, let me know. Or also, what people find hot when you check in with your partner. How are you doing? Are you liking that? Is that feeling good? Is there anything else I can do? Is there anything you want me to try? Things like that. Giving people the opening and the comfort to be able to say, well, actually, yeah, can you try licking a little harder? Or, whatever it might be. Giving people the opening and the comfort to do that is important. Yeah. All right, yeah. If y'all have anything to add on that, otherwise I'll find another one.
Gucci?
Okay. Okay, here's one. Is it true that female partners will talk to their friends about a male's penis size, technique, and how long they last? It makes me paranoid that my intimate moments with anyone will be other people's gossip.
I personally would say it depends. I would never talk about something like that because I think it's intimidating. And I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing these things with someone because I would feel like I would be talking about something that's very private. But I know like some of my friends would do it. It's like it really depends on the person, I would say, sadly. Yeah. Yeah, it depends.
From my experience, I haven't talked about any of, especially not anyone's penis size. That would be very fucked up, and that's very body shamey.
No.
If it's my close friend and the sex is just horrible, I may tell her. I may be like, "Damn, that was really bad." But only if it's someone that's like, I barely. Just being honest with you guys. Just being honest. You know, I may do that, especially if it's someone that's not a friend that I'm talking about. If it's just some person that I happen to meet. You know, be like,
Oh
"Ah,"
yeah.
you know.
I think that is a bit of a, like, I feel that's like mostly it if you just have like a one night thing with someone and then someone talks about it. I guess that's a bit of a different situation than being in a relationship with someone and talking about that person. It's like a very different scenario because that one person you will probably never meet again. Hopefully, I don't know. And the other one you will spend maybe hopefully your life with. So you don't really want their private information to be public to anyone. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be respectful. Very, very respectful.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
It's not even about bad mouthing, right? Because, you know, maybe it's great, but it's just I don't know. It's just for me. It's just very private, and I don't think it just wouldn't feel good. I think to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. Is it true that female partners will talk to their friends? It's true that someone can, you know? It's the same thing, like, are there people out there, you know, it is not even female, are there male partners, you know, are there non-female partners that will talk to their friends about stuff? Yeah. There's also non-female partners that won't. Like, it really comes down to, you know, the person themselves. I think gender is not the determining factor here.
It's how good a person is. You know,
Yeah.
People are good or bad with their, you know, their actions.
Because when it comes to gender stereotypes, a lot of the time you get, like, you know, you get women who are afraid of men, like, sharing any pictures that they decide to share with them intimately and stuff like that. Like that's an example of a breach of privacy, right? So I mean, on as far as gender stereotyping goes in scenarios like this, like, there are all kinds of things people can do. So I think gender is irrelevant. I think it just comes down to, there's a possibility. And I think that should kind of go into the partners that you're choosing. I'd recommend not maybe getting involved with someone who you think might do that or might give you reason to think they might do that. You know, you can try to keep that to people you trust. But yeah, at the end of the day, like with Sad, if it's a hookup and you probably never see that person again, it really doesn't matter whether they talked about you or not.
Exactly.
It literally doesn't matter. Yeah. There are always two sides of a coin. Yeah. All right. Feel free to add anything you want in that. Otherwise, I'll find us another one. Okay. This question. I beat my meat like it owes me money, but I just can't come or sometimes get hard.
Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
Yeah, whoever wrote this, it's a matter of, like, have you never come in your life? Or, like, because you say, I just can't come or sometimes get hard. There's a couple possibilities. One thing is you're not spending the time to explore your body enough to see what you like. For other people, maybe you're not quite getting in the mental state for what you need. Yeah, there's also just a possibility that everyone's bodies are different. unfortunately, you may have some form of erectile dysfunction. And you need to talk to a doctor. If you're having trouble, having an erection, that's something to bring up to a doctor. Letting them know, maybe don't word it like this, but letting them know, in a more professional sense of like you're having trouble getting hard, you're having trouble getting an erection, and see what they say. Because it's a more common problem than you think. I think, especially with different ages and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with having something like that happen, and feeling like you want to talk to a doctor to get treatment or something for it, right? Yeah, you may also discover that there are other things related to it, right? You may find out that maybe you're on a medication, or maybe you just have another unrelated health condition that when you treat that health condition, it may help whatever's going on here, right? But again, it's a doctor question. Hi, Heavenly. How are you? Nice to see you.
Hi, Husbando. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know. Any other input on this?
I feel like... Oh, sorry. You can start this time.
Oh, no. I was going to say that she said everything that I was, I was thinking of.
I would maybe... It's like weird, but maybe recommend using a sex toy for it. I know that sounds stupid, but I feel like some people have problems with when they touch themselves that they don't feel it. And if you try maybe using, I don't know, can I own a hole? You know what I mean? If you try to use something like that, it might stimulate you better than you trying to beat it until it dies, So maybe try to do something like that, and maybe that works for you. I feel like that's something that a lot of people kind of forget about. I don't know.
I agree. Well, there's like this social stigma against like men using sex toys. Like sex toys, when people hear sex toy, they think vibrator, and they think like vibrating dildo, and they think like vibrating dildo that they stick in a vagina. Like that's that's like the only thing that people think when they first start thinking about sex toys, and they have no education on it or anything like that, right? But yes, normalize sex toys for everyone, regardless of genitals, regardless of gender. Sex toys are helpful. They are healthy. They're a good way for you to be able to explore your body, see what you like. You can use them with your partner, There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, find out what works for you. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you tell your partner, if someone with a penis tells their partner like, hey, I have trouble sometimes, but I've discovered that like one of the things that helps, like something that helps me be able to come is using a toy or using something like this, because it's just the stimulation my body needs. That your partner is, most likely not going to have a problem with that. They're going to, if they care about you, and the whole goal of having sexual interaction with someone is for, two people to have a good time together. They're gonna be there to help you out and to do whatever you need. And if they don't, if they're like, oh, what? Am I not good enough for you? Or any kind of stuff, that's on them. That's on them, and that's not a healthy situation to be in. Yeah. But yeah, if you're not even sure where to start, I mean, I always recommend Lovense, personally, as a brand to explore, that has all kinds of toys, specifically for penises, specifically for vaginas, and then like unisex toys. Basically, honestly, if it vibrates, you can put it up against a genital. There's a lot of leeway there. Even something that's like a vibrating dildo shaped thing, you can literally put that up against a penis, and it'll still feel good. Like it doesn't matter. But there are plenty of toys that are specifically made for people with penises. And I would recommend looking into them. I think that's a really good point that Shira makes.
There's like fleshlights and cock rings. Multiple different things guys can use.
Yeah. I know something that a lot of people like, regardless of what they have, are wands. Like wands are basically just a vibrating head. It's just a vibrating centralized point, and that can go up against a vagina, that can go up against a penis, that can go on nipples. Like you can literally, that can go on your back. You can literally use it for for like regular massages, right? Like that's a wand. Like a nice wand can be used on your entire body. It doesn't matter what parts you have. You know. Yeah. All I recommend for everyone is to look into it, right? Yeah. The penis leaven stuff has some downsides, some bad materials that can't be cleaned properly. So I'll say this because I have a lot of experience with Levin's toys. There are different ones. What you're describing sounds like you might be describing the Max, which I think is like the go-to thing that most people with penises are just like, oh, the Max is the one to get, right? Because it's basically a vibrating flashlight, right? If you don't know what that means, it means it's like a sleeve. It's like a silicone sleeve that's like soft and textured, so you can stick a penis inside like you would into a vagina or something like that, into some orifice. And the actual plastic case of it vibrates, and it sends the vibrations through the sleeve, and it's felt by the person who's inserting into it. That's one of many toys, right? The toys can be easily cleaned, I will say. There are instructions on how to clean them, and it's really not bad. You run it through water, you let everything dry out. But also what I would say is there's other things. There's a toy called the Gush, for example, that this company makes that is not a fleshlight. It is just a like wraparound vibration device. And that one works extremely well. For having some more direct contact that is extremely easy to clean, or all these things. Like these these issues that are brought up here, I would highly recommend looking into just other options. Like I said, going to like the Levin's website and looking at literally all like 20 or 25 things that they make, instead of just being like, oh, I think there's this only the one toy, right? Like there's a lot to look at. But yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. A lot of people that I know that have penises have said that they really like the Gush. So that would be one that I recommend looking into. Obviously, yes, there are fleshlights. That kind of stuff is nice. But looking into like the Gush, which is a vibrating wraparound, looking into a wand like the Dame, or even, it doesn't have to be Levin's. The reason why I recommend Levin's is because it's good price, very high quality, and it has Bluetooth functionalities, which means if you have a partner over the internet or something long distance, they can make your toys vibrate and control them over long distances. So that's something, in today's internet culture that is important to some people. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything to add on that? All right. Okay. Is shower sex dirtier or cleaner than regular sex?
I mean, I guess it depends on if you wash your ass beforehand or not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm there's question mark?
I mean, do you plan on washing after or like beforehand? Your shower might get a little dirty. I mean, yeah, I guess that answers your question a little bit. I will say that, don't expect to use water as lube. Okay, that will not work.
Yes.
That does not work.
Yes, very important. That's like people who are in like a hot tub together or pool together, and they do it for the first time, and they're like, "Why is this so bad?" Yeah, water's not a lube. That's why they sell lube, right? That's what there's water-based lubes. That's different. It's water-based, but there's still other things. Yeah, that's why they don't tell you like just pour some water on it, right? Grab the Dasani and just throw that on that and you're good. Like yeah, that's a good point that you bring up, I think, when it comes to shower stuff is you got to be saying this is any kind of sex. You should always make sure that you are safe and you are researching things, even something as innocuous as shower sex. One, you're in usually, depending on your temperature, assuming that it's a hot shower, you are raising your body temperature. You're in like essentially like a sauna kind of thing. You're elevating your body by having sex in the shower. So, but depending on what your health conditions are, it could be not great for you, right? I've heard of people like having shower sex and then like passing out. Because they don't think about, you know, all that stuff. They don't think about how hot it is and all that stuff like that.
I'm gonna pee real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Just gonna.
Yeah, just, you can hide down there. There's some puppy pads down there. Yeah. I don't know. Any thoughts, Shira?
No, like just that. No thoughts.
Yeah, make sure you're safe. Don't use water as lube. That goes for any place there's a body of water or things like that. Also, like, people slip in the shower, right? Make sure that your space is safe. Same goes for anywhere, right? That you might be doing it. Like, always be safe. All right. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, so we have a question here. Someone asks, "Hey, I've been out of the dating scene for like 5 years at this point, and I'm looking to get back into it. But I know like 0 people outside of my friends who are basically all dating other people, and I've had no luck with dating apps. What would you suggest I do?" What you think? What's your take on this?
I personally, I don't know. I never used dating apps, and I also never really. It's difficult because, I don't know. I think honestly, just try maybe play some games, online games. Try to make friends there. Find new groups of friends, or maybe find people there. Depends on what your hobbies are too. If you like, I don't know, maybe you can pick up a hobby. Maybe you can go to a cook club. I know it sounds stupid, but just go to new circles of people and try to meet more people. Kind of, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds stupid at all. I think it's
I thought it was muted. I was muted by accident. Hi. I'm
No
back.
worries, no worries.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's stupid at all. I think it's an extremely good point. Is, well, a lot of the time the problem with dating apps is that they're very appearance based. And I think anyone who's been in a lot of relationships and gets a lot of experience tells you that basing things solely on looks, appearances, that kind of stuff, it is the most short-term satisfaction that you can find. Being like, oh my gosh, this person's hot, but they might be a complete piece of shit. And it is way more important that you're actually compatible with someone who's going to be like emotionally good for you and mentally good for you. And not just like, wow, they're hot. Like, So, and then just the fact that you have compatible lifestyles, that's probably a big one. Um, and one of the best ways to do that is to find people who have similar hobbies, interests, things that do have a commonality in your lifestyle.
I agree.
That is,
I think that
yeah.
I think that you should go to places and partake in hobbies that you will actually make friends. You'll make friends at those places, and then usually it's best to go from friendship to partner. Usually, for me, like I've done dating app thing. I've also most of my relationships were actually from mutuals and or from places that I've either worked at or I don't recommend work. Don't recommend that. But just basically places that I've been at or hobbies stuff like that. So I think that you, like Marina said, mutual interest is good. And even better if it's through like a mutual and stuff like that. It's fine. There's nothing wrong technically with dating apps. They have their pros and their cons. But one of the things that I've noticed too is that if you go on a date from a dating app, you have that what's it called? That when you're what is it called? Short talk? Not short talk.
Small talk. Small
talk. There it is. Where you're basically asking those questions that are really annoying to ask. Whereas if you're meeting someone through like a hobby or through a friend, things come so much. It's more natural, in my opinion.
You have discussion, like more in-depth discussions that you could have based on something you already know is a commonality, as opposed to trying to find that, right? Because when you're small talking, you're like, so what movies do you like? So what music do you like? So what books do you like? So and you're like trying to find out and narrow that stuff down. And there's nothing wrong with trying to ask people questions to get to know them better and stuff like that. And then even I've seen people that try the other route where they're just like, oh, I ask philosophical questions. I ask people like what they would do in this scenario. And it's like, at the end of the day too, like you want to kind of focus on certain things, find out what a person does, find out what a person's interested in, and see if there's those common grounds. I think too many people when they get into dating, they're worried that there's something that's wrong if they go on dates and they don't go well, or they're not someone that they would want to go and date again, right? Because both you and the other person no one is entitled to like a second date, right? It's just a matter of testing. That's what dating is. It's testing the waters, seeing if like someone seems interesting enough for you to want to put yourself out there, and then see how it goes, right? I've had bad dates. I've had dates where I get there and like 10 minutes into it, I'm just like, oh shit, okay, like
I feel like it's
I'm ready
difficult.
for it to be over. And then other times it's been amazing.
It's so difficult to figure out for me in my anecdotal experiences, if I'm compatible with someone from dating apps. I'm not saying I'm not against dating apps, but you kind of have to have multiple dates with them, and so many dates to the point that you really got to figure out if you're compatible. Whereas when you're starting with a friendship, you find out whether you're compatible much easier, in my personal opinion. That's at least in my own experiences. Not saying that applies for everyone, because like with most of these questions, things don't apply. It really depends on the person. But in my personal experience, it's just so much better to find people through mutual interest and or through friends. Dating apps are cool, but it's definitely more difficult to find if you're compatible with that person.
It also depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, like I find that this seems common for a lot of people who are streamers. When I talk to other streamers, is like people are much more open who have very internet centric lifestyles to like long distance relationships, and dating other people that are also streamers or like have similar lifestyles, experiences, understanding of like their needs, right? Because they have similar needs. But, people watching, there might be some people who have an online-centric life, and then there may be some people who don't, and you just kind of, you use that to know where to look. Like, for me, I met someone online. We're both VTubers, and that's fine for me. I don't mind long distance relationship, because it fits my needs, my like emotional and relationship needs right now. And I'm okay with like what that might mean for the future, where that might go, and like stuff like that. And if that's the case, and you know that you're okay with that, then yeah, there are all kinds of places. If you're a gamer, you can try to meet someone through what you do or what you play. There are Discord social groups and stuff like that for things like that. And if not, then yeah, you put yourself in places that are related to things you like to do. Right? I think it's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other thoughts on this?
Just like a general, I think like with dating apps, what I noticed, especially the swiping ones, they're so superficial. Like you said earlier, it's like you basically just kind of swipe and you swipe and you swipe, and then you have someone, and then you're like, you don't even know them. You just kind of seen them. You never really talk to them. You just small talk to them.
Yeah.
That's all. It's, I don't know when it happened, because I mean, there used to be dating websites. I think they're still a thing, but I feel like those were actually more suited to find someone you can actually date than a swiping app. It just evolved into something completely different. I don't know. My mom, for example, found her new husband on a dating website. It sounds so stupid, but it was like way easier for them through that, even though they were in from the same city. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it really depends on people's lifestyles too. But yeah, I think there's no shame in anything. I know people that have literally gotten married and they met through Tinder. And I know people that have met through OkCupid, whatever websites it might be. But I've seen people kind of meet in all kinds of different scenarios. Yeah, I think there's no right or wrong way to meet somebody, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're happy, you're happy.
Yes, and sometimes it's just a weird coincidence. And I think that's like also something that happens a lot. You don't really search for it, and it just happens.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Does anyone need a break? I know you ran and used the restroom in the last one, but yeah, does anyone need a water break or bathroom break or anything? Are you good?
I don't need a break.
Okay, I'm good too. So we'll keep going. Okay. Okay. All right, I have a question. Me and my girl have been together for about a year, and on Christmas, we decided to get it on for the first time. Here's the predicament. She likes it more gentle and slow, while, not gonna lie, I'm someone who likes to get a little rough, and I kind of can get too rough, so I'm trying to be considerate to her, but I don't really know how I can appeal to her while also having fun myself. What's your take on this?
I'm gonna let you handle this one first.
Okay.
I gotta think this one through.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Shara?
That's difficult. I don't really. It's like, because it's like so opposite to each other, of what they like. Yeah, I don't really know. Let me think.
Yeah, okay, I can get started, and then you all can add to it. All right, so there's nothing wrong with being into more rough sex, if that's something that you're into. However, I will say, communication is extremely important. But also, here's the bigger predicament. No one is entitled to sex at all, or the kind of sex that they want from any one particular person. You and your partner may have been together for a year, but if it turns out that you're not sexually compatible, you're not sexually compatible. Right? This is part of why, if sexuality is really important to you, right? If sexuality is really important to you, I always recommend having those discussions early on in their relationship. For some people, sexuality is not important to them. So it kind of takes a back seat. And they're like, oh, my person, wants to do it a bunch. I'm okay with that. If they don't want to do it very much, I'm okay with that too. But for some people, it's like, it's a kind of a driving thing in their needs, like their sexual needs, which is okay as long as it's communicated, right? If your partner likes it more gentle and slow, I mean, also you said Christmas, right? So it's been like 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know how often you've been doing it. I don't know any of that stuff, but like sometimes I don't know if it's her first time doing it. Like, there's a lot of different factors here that could play a part in this. But overall, the thing is, you need to be a good partner, and you need to be respectful of her needs, and that things can only happen when both people agree. If one person wants something but the other person doesn't, it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't matter what, if she wants something and you don't want it, it doesn't happen. And if you want something and she doesn't want it, it doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen, right? Because that's not consensual. The only stuff that happens is when both people are okay and on the same page, whatever overlaps, right? That's the stuff that's important. That being said, if you haven't talked to her about it, talk to her about it. But you say she likes it more slow and gentle. And it's... I wonder in my head, have you discussed this already? Have there been experiences? Did you try being rougher and she asked you to not? Like, because you seem to have an idea that she likes it more gentle and slow, but you like it rougher. So it's taking those things into account, right? Because that's what you have to do. You always, always, always have to do that. That's important. It's not okay for you to pressure her into being more rough or feeling like she needs to be or anything like that, because there's millions of people out there, literally. If you want to find someone who is just more naturally rough, who's more into this kind of stuff, you can find somebody. You don't need to force someone who's not into that and cause like issues, right? So just be responsible, be respectful is what I would say. That's how I take this question. I think it's more about introspection with you, and looking at the harsh realities of you may not be sexually compatible. But if you are asking specifically on, it's not about how I can appeal to her, because that sounds manipulative, right? Like, how can I make her want to do this kind of thing is like what appeal sounds like. It sounds strange. And it's the wording that threw me off with this question. But I think the real way you should be asking this, the way you should be looking at it is, I like rougher sex. I haven't done that yet with my girlfriend. How do I bring it up? And it's, you just communicate. You let your partner know the kind of things that you like. Let your partner know ultimately that you're there for her regardless of her decision, but you're curious to see if she would be interested in trying some things with you or whatever it might be, right? That's how I would position it, right? Anyway, what are your thoughts?
This is one of those questions that is honestly more on the difficult side. I think that you should really figure out what you care about more, whether you care about sexuality more or whether you care about her more, and the love between you two. Because I understand that sex is a big part of a relationship, and you have to make sure that you are consensual and that you don't do anything that would make her uncomfortable. Okay? Same for her with you. So, if it's really that big of a deal that, you like rougher stuff and that's a bigger priority to you, then maybe you guys shouldn't be together. But if you like her and you love her enough point that that you are willing to, then you need to figure it out and work things out and accommodate, in my personal opinion.
I think it's well said. Any thoughts, Shara?
I think so as well. It's like basically about like communicating and trying to figure things out and working on it. Or like, working on it sounds weird, but talking about it, figuring things out, and if you really like each other, you can find ways to figure things out that work for both of you in a way. Maybe it's not necessarily about, I don't know, fucking hair really hard, but maybe you can find other ways where you can get your stimulation from. Maybe it's something mental. Maybe it is some stupid play. I don't know. Maybe you can also have something like that is maybe a bit rougher, but works for you. I don't know if that makes. I don't know how to say that properly, but yeah, it doesn't.
I think what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, were you gonna say more?
Oh no, just like you can also maybe that's where the toys come from, right? Maybe you can try to find something like that. Maybe if she doesn't like to be penetrated roughly, right? Maybe you can find another way where she can give you something back, or like having just like the communication, like really trying to figure things out, working it out together, having fun together. I think that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good suggestion. I think yeah, thinking outside the box, thinking about other ways to explore. And that's part of where communication comes in, right? If you communicate to your partner and she says, well, I haven't really thought about it. I'm open to it. That might be one response, right? And then it's finding out how do you make her feel comfortable and safe? Because that's the most important, right? Just like we said earlier, just like Spite said, if your needs and wants and stuff don't line up, it may be time to move on, right? It may be time to end your relationship because it's not the right one for you, right? You have to be fair to yourself and fair to your partner. Always have to be fair to both people. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts?
I think that's it for me.
Okay. All right, cool. We can look at this one. This person says, I am into sex, but I have issues with all the actual real dirty physical bits that involve sex. I have issues even exploring myself. Any tips or tricks to be more open-minded in that aspect? What do y'all think?
I can relate to that a lot. So it's really difficult for me to really answer that.
Yeah.
It's like keep trying, I guess. I don't know. Maybe someone else can help with that and then help me as well.
Maybe just educating yourself a little bit more on ways to pleasure yourself. Just educating yourself about the body more. And if you try something out, I think experimenting is really good, because if you try something out and you don't like it, there's a whole bunch of other things that you can do, and you can try those things out. And there's toys like she had mentioned, so stuff like that works. But just don't pressure yourself, don't force yourself into doing anything that you don't like. Just try it out. Just try stuff. Educate and experiment.
Yeah. I would say Okay, there's a couple things here, but I have issues with the actual real dirty physical bits that involve sex. Okay. Yeah, sex is primal, right? Like in it's the most like wild primal thing that we do as organisms. I feel like is just we you know we build a society and civilization, and then we slam our naked bodies together. And it's the same exact thing that's been happening, you know, forever since humans existed. Like it's just that's how it is, right? Um so when it comes to the actual real dirty physical bits, I think a lot of the time when people have like the discomfort around stuff that is like dirty and stuff like that, it usually comes from a mental relating to like, is it unsafe? Am I going to get sick? Like, is like, you know, things like that. And I think reminding yourself that as long as you're safe, you're gonna be okay, right? Like there are a lot of very uncomfortable things that people don't like to think about, right? Like how many skin cells you're consuming constantly in your life and stuff like that. Like it's reality. It's just stuff that happens. It's like certain things you need to understand. Like for example, oral sex. It may be like, wow, but people pee from there or whatever happens from there, right? Like listen. It's safe. It's fine. It's healthy. It's not an issue. Genital systems, well, the vagina more than the penis, self cleans itself, right? Regardless, everyone should wash their genitals.
Wash yourself.
Wash your genitals, right? Wash your vagina, wash your penis, wash your ass.
Wash your ass. Do
right?
it.
But even like, you know, tons of people eat ass, and people are like, "Oh my god, but stuff comes out of the butt." Yeah, but you clean it, you keep it hygienic, and honestly, like, it, I don't know what to say. Like, are there any little molecular things that you might be getting that might be related to that? Like, yeah, maybe, but there's constantly stuff happening in little like quote unquote gross biological molecules and stuff that you're inhaling, ingesting. It just kind of comes to getting over that hump of discomfort. You know what I mean? It just comes to that hump of like, you clean yourself as much as you can. You're not going to get sick from going down on someone, unless they are physically unhealthy, right? Like if they have an infection or something, obviously you don't want to do that. But like, you're not going to get sick from eating someone's ass or going down on them, or having sex or anything like that. You know, the only thing I can think of that is like potentially the dirtiest thing is anal sex. And there are ways to be very clean and hygienic. Yeah, you know, someone in chat says even kissing is dirty. It's true. Like you're probably spreading, I feel like, more bacteria by making out with somebody than you are by eating their ass. I don't know. Don't call me on that. But point is, it's not like completely. I don't know. It's not clean and everything to like make out with someone versus other stuff, right? Yeah, generally our mouths have a lot of stuff going on in there. But even then, as much as that is, like, people make out with each other constantly, and it's fine, right? As long as people aren't sick. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, sorry, I was saying anal sex. Even with anal sex, like, there are ways to keep yourself clean. Like, there are ways to just, like, clean out the butt that's gonna be penetrated so that it's not dirty. And when you take the time to clean, even that, like, is not gonna be an issue or anything like that, right? I heard the human mouth is the dirtiest area in general. Probably, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. People give me shit for like wanting to lick girls' armpits, but I'm telling you, yeah, like making out is probably worse than that.
No, it is. Making out gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit.
Yeah,
You know,
some people
I've done
don't
it, but it
like
gives me
making out.
heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I would say some people don't like kissing, which is valid if people don't like it. But this conversation is not to make anyone not want to make out. This is me telling you that if people are okay with making out and understand that to be safe, that hopefully people understand that other body parts are, you know, not even as quote unquote bacterial or quote unquote dirty or whatever. Like, yeah. One of the most dirty dirty things externally is fingertips. That makes sense because you're constantly touching things, right? It's probably cleaner to lick someone's toes than it is to lick their fingers. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts?
I've been thinking that maybe, like you said, the mental part, it's maybe about being unsure about what that really involves and how you're supposed to do things and what are the correct way to do things and what is sex. I don't know, you know, I feel like that is also something that might be in your head when you're like, okay, now it's happening. What the fuck is going on? Where do I have to go? Right. Like, I like this, but what the fuck do I have to do? And I feel like that is also a really big part that plays into this whole sexual thing, because I feel like, especially when you're with someone you like, you kind of want to do something that they like, and there's always this kind of being scared of doing something wrong, and that's like, yes, you can talk about it and your partner will forgive you and all these things, but I feel like it's still in your head where you're like, I feel that's maybe also part of why it's sometimes a bit difficult to do that stuff.
Yeah. No, I think that's well said. I think that makes a lot of sense. Just kind of a lot of it's about learning and getting that experience, right? And feeling safe. I think that's why I always stress like communicating and education, because that's what helps lead to people feeling and being safe, right? Which is the most important for creating good experiences, healthy experiences. Usually a lack of safety, whether it's comfort or whether it's physical, is like the kind of stuff that leads to people having trauma related things or discomfort or stuff that stays with them that is like, this is a bad experience, I don't want to do this again, kind of thing. First time doing anything and the first time with someone is scary. Yeah, it's true. It definitely can be. It definitely can be, especially when people don't communicate and make sure that people are comfortable. Like, I always try to tell everyone to communicate. It's up to both people to communicate. And, you know, regardless of what your position in the relationship or the sexual encounter is, like, making the other person know that they can communicate with you safely, doing that stuff, like, in opening up that line of communication is always, like, really, really important. Yeah. Okay. All right, how are we doing? Okay. Okay, we'll take another relationship question. This is I am returning to the dating scene. Seems like it was a common theme tonight. I'm returning to the dating scene, but I'm ace. Ace, for people that don't know, means asexual. It means someone who is typically less interested or finds sex to be less important to them than the typical person, than the average person. It is a spectrum, meaning that some people who are ace are not interested in sex whatsoever. Some people don't mind having sex, but they want to have sex less. It's just some variety of less than like the typical person. So it's an umbrella term, you know, that involves a spectrum of different things. So let's see. I'm returning to the dating scene, but I'm ace. I have no idea where to start. Every time I start talking to someone in a dating sense, I clarify with them that I'm ace, and things fizzle out or disappear. There are no ace dating websites or support groups in my area, and I can't do long distance. How am I supposed to find someone that is okay with no sex? Sad face. This was tough.
That's very tough.
Because it's
Especially
not
if you
my
don't have many
experience personally.
options.
Yeah.
I
And
think
it's kind of
in
one of
this-
those.
No, sorry.
No. If no, you go ahead. By all means.
I just want to say in this part, it really is just about trying and keep going, because you can't tell by the appearance of someone necessarily. You know, you can't just be like, oh yeah, you're ace, and you know, you can't just be like, I'm gonna talk to you right now. It's really difficult. So it's like, you know, when you date, you already have it very difficult to find someone that might be similar to you, and then you also have to find someone that is ace just like you, or maybe not necessarily, depending on how much that's like it. Like, do you not want to have sex at all, or is it like less? Maybe needing to find someone that is okay with less. You know, it's really difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
this
agree
person
with
expressed okay with no sex, so I think they're on the hard end of the spectrum where it's like they're not interested at all.
I agree. I think that you just have to keep trying. The hard part is that you can't just open up with that. You know what I'm saying? The first time you meet someone, you can't just be like, "Hey, by the way, I'm asexual and I don't like sex." You know. So I think that you just gotta keep trying, and you know, if things are getting there earlier on, then maybe if you feel like that person would be comfortable with you expressing that at that point in time, then I would express to them. You know, I would not try to get too far into it to the point where you catch such major feelings and then express it, and then, you know, and then you're feeling hurt after that. You know, but definitely a point of when the two of you are comfortable enough, express it, and if it doesn't work out, well, then, you know, you can find someone else. Hopefully eventually it will happen. It will eventually happen, I believe.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, they say there's no asexual sites. I see some, but they might, like, the problem is if they're not the major websites, a lot of them just don't have a big user base and they just kind of suck, and it's hard for you to find someone nearby. But, you know, doing a quick kind of Google search, I feel like I see some options, so it might be worth looking into. But I will say, from my experience back when I, you know, had dating profiles and stuff, like, I do remember on OkCupid specifically it having the option to flag yourself as asexual and to filter looking for asexual people, right? So maybe that was overlooked. Yeah, so I will definitely say in this scenario, just kind of keep looking and see if you can, you know, use the website. Because yeah, when you have higher needs, more specified needs with certain things, like this I would consider that, right? Like, because you want to find a partner who's okay with not having sex, then you also want to find someone else who's also asexual, you know, and fits onto that. So that's something. But if you're going to date someone who is not asexual, that's sounds like a compatibility issue, because usually if they're not asexual, they on some level, you know, are going to want or desire sex, and if that's not something you ever want to do, then yeah, that's an issue. Unless some people are talking about, you know, things like polyamory is one thing, but it doesn't even need to be polyamory. It could be a sexually open relationship, right? It could be something where you're like, I really like this person and I don't want sex, and I don't mind if my partner has sex, I just don't want it to be with me. Like, you know, that could be a scenario where you might find someone who is okay with that, you know? having you as their emotional partner but not their sexual partner. Yeah. But I would look online. I would see what resources that you do have. I know I've seen people on websites like Tinder and stuff too, like that just have asexual listed in their bio. That's not to say that you're not just gonna get people auto swiping on everyone, and then you know, but you're gonna have better luck, I think, on websites like OkCupid or something where you can specifically like set asexual as a filter. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. This one makes me giggle a little bit. Howdy. I am a male chew toy. And recently, I've been attempting to reach my G spot.
I know.
And I want some advice on how I should go about doing this properly. Would I poop myself if I hit it?
This is my friend. I've been trying to tell him to try exploring and find his G spot, and I've been telling him how to do it, which is the male G spot is in your butt. And I'm pretty sure it is 3 inches deep up in there. And I think that if you stick your finger inside and you do a come hither motion, that is how you find the male G spot, from what I've learned. So,
It's also known as the P spot, for prostate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your prostate, exactly.
Would I poop myself if I hit it is a no. that's a no. It's not like a magic. It's not like the eject button, right? Where like if you push on the prostate, all of a sudden you just like violently shit yourself. That is not that's not how that works. That would make pegging or any kind of anal penetration for someone with a prostate
Have you heard the
very
stories
difficult.
of people going to like get a prostate exam and then them just just splooshing as soon as they like stick a finger inside? I heard those stories, whether they're true or not. I think that was freaking hilarious.
I mean,
I don't think that actually happens all the time.
But,
I don't.
yeah.
But I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, what I would say is no. I think some people some people get really worried about stuff like that. There's a lot of social taboo against people exploring their butts and finding like what feels good and whatever sort of thing. It's like a lot of people are like, I'm a straight dude, and straight dudes don't do that. Like, no, anybody can do it regardless of your sexuality. It doesn't matter. People who are comfortable with their bodies are the people that do that essentially. Straight or otherwise, it doesn't matter your sexual orientation. Would I poop myself if I hit it? So the first thing I'm gonna say, if you're worried about pooping yourself, make sure you don't have poop in you. That's probably a good place to start. Because you probably shouldn't be doing this if you have not evacuated yourself. So I would say definitely make sure that you use the restroom. Do your best to do that. Now, if you are someone who is interested in anal play and things like that, I would recommend that you grab on like Amazon or somewhere just a basic like anima bulb kind of thing, where you can just literally all you're doing is like sticking a thin little thing in your butt that goes in easily, and then you just fill yourself with water, and then you just push it out, and you do that like a few times, and you can clean out your whole insides. Right?
You can use lube too if you're first exploring. It might be easier if you
absolutely anything going in your butt. Yeah, sorry, that is a really good point. Anything going in your butt, regardless of your gender, you should be using lube, because the butt is not a self-lubricating hole. right? Spit is not lube. You should be using lube. Yeah, it's very, very, very important. It's a very sensitive area. It's easy to cause injury if you're not using lube. Yeah. But yeah, you can use an enema bulb. You can clean yourself out. You can do that a few times and you will, you'll be good for a while. You won't have anything in you. And you don't have to worry about pooping yourself. I think one of the issues is that when people have not experienced any kind of anal sensations, the only thing that they have to relate to it is the feeling of needing to go to the bathroom. Right? Because they're like, oh, I feel something pushing up against my opening. Usually that means I have to go to the bathroom. And so, it's an easy mental equal for people, but it's fine. Having that sensation doesn't mean that you're gonna poop yourself. When you don't have a lot of experience, that's probably the first thing that people are scared of. Is like, I just want it out. I just want it out because it feels like something's gonna happen. And they get all scared or embarrassed or whatever. If you are cleaning yourself, if you've done all that stuff, you have literally nothing to worry about, and you can have that sense of calm. And that's what I really recommend when it comes to that stuff.
Trying to
Yeah.
relax yourself definitely beforehand, because you don't want to have that booty clenching. Not the booty clench, all right? You only
That's
booty
true.
clench when you're doing squats, all right? You know?
And this comes to
Gotta
any
be
kind
relaxed.
of anal play or anything. It's like, take it slow. Be safe. Warm yourself up. Right? Like, there are people who will buy a plug for the first time or whatever it might be, and they're just like, how do I go from not having the plug in to having the plug in? And usually it's like, it takes a while, especially your first time, when your body and your muscles are not used to it. Like, you're gonna use a lubricated finger and you're just gonna use one finger for a while, like 10 minutes or more, right? 2 fingers for like 10 minutes or more, and then compare, like, depending on what you're doing. Usually once you go through 2 fingers, you may be at the phase where you're okay to try to move on to a small toy or something like that. But just make sure you're always safe with yourself. Make sure that you are doing any research you need to, right? Feel free to look stuff up online. But lubrication. Absolutely. And if it's something that you want to seriously explore, I think it is worth investing in like a $10 to $15 like enema bulb that you can use to just make sure you're all cleaned out and good to go. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
Nope. I just
Okay.
love that I'm a male chew toy.
Yeah. I saw that. And I
I'll
was like,
chew on you
okay.
any day.
I know where they're from. Yeah. All right, let's see.
Yeah, I'm blue, da ba dee da ba da. Yeah, Jet.
Okay, here we go.
I'm not furry. I'm not furry. I'm just blue.
My wife and I haven't done foreplay in months. It's basically just stimulating her and getting her aroused, and then on to the big show. Well, opening up to her and saying I miss the exploring and enjoying our bodies before the main event. I'm trying to understand the question. I mean, I think I understand the kind of question they're asking. They just didn't really word it as a question. I think it's a matter of like, how do I bring this up? How do I communicate to my wife that I miss foreplay? Any thoughts from either of you?
Just do it. I don't know. I mean,
That's
if
what
you
I was
are,
thinking.
just bring it up, right? I don't really know.
Insert Shia LaBeouf. Just do it. Make your dreams come true.
Yeah, kind of like communication, right?
Yeah, just talk to her. You know?
Yeah, I think you communicated it to us. I think that's the first step, right? Like, getting the words out to someone else, and then you've done it. So now you just can turn around and say, hey, I feel like we used to do a lot more foreplay and I kind of miss it. Right? Is there, I don't know, is there a reason you're afraid? Like, have you already brought it up and she was not receptive? Or, you know, like, yeah, because you say it's basically just stimulating her and getting her aroused and then on to the big show. So it's like very minimal foreplay and you want more. Sometimes people get really stressed out and they have a lot going on in their life. And when it comes to sex, they're like, sex is nice, but God, I'm so stressed. Like the thought of spending a lot of time having sex right now is like just not what I want to do. And so that's kind of like what I think that's the trap people get into when they're just like quickie, one and done, and then that's just all their sex becomes. So maybe finding ways to make sure that your partner is comfortable, and kind of getting into the root. See if it's any of that stuff. How can you help de-stress your wife, right? Yeah. All right. Anything else on that one? I'll look for another one. Okay. All right, let's take this one. This is a scenario. I met my best friend. We dated for a while. We broke up and stayed friends after. She's been very obvious of still having feelings for me. And while I also have feelings for them, they are more messy. I was their first relationship and I feel somewhat responsible for her thanks to that. But I doubt I have any great idea on how to deal with it. Sorry, it was too real. Okay.
The whole I feel somewhat responsible for her to that. Okay. I feel like I'm trying to get in my head exactly what I'm trying to say. So you're out there. She has feelings for you. You have feelings for them, and they are more messy. So are you saying like they are? Or you mean like they're drama filled? Is that what you mean? And you don't think that you are drama filled? Well, unless you've done something to harm this person or offend them, then I don't think you are responsible for how they are. And if they're drama filled and you don't like that, then I think you should try to separate yourself from them if you feel like getting back with them is a bad idea. Personally, I think that if you have feelings for someone that you may think is toxic and you're trying to get away, and this is something that is very difficult for people to do because getting away from someone that you really love, there's an actual thing, and I've studied this, and correct me if I'm wrong. So I think it's called oxytocin, which is like the love drug, pretty much. Where basically, if you break up with a person, you go through withdrawal symptoms, which are similar to like if you were going through withdrawal from a drug of some sort. And it's really hard, but you should start to separate yourself away from that person. For me, if I'm ever dealing with a breakup, what I do is the no contact rule, which I basically don't look at anything of theirs. And I try to cut everything off. And it's very difficult. But if you feel like this is someone that's toxic and you really need to get them out of your life, that's the best way to go about it, is to try to make sure that you no longer have feelings for this person. And separating yourself is that. And I also don't think that you should feel responsible for how this person is just because they're your first time and you were their first time. I don't think so. That's not on you. Unless, like I said, unless you've done something to actually harm them in some way, then it's not on you. And harming can mean not just physical, that means, mentally as well.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Shira?
Yeah, I also don't think you should feel responsible for anything. I think if that's like it's kind of a shady feeling. It's not really genuine. It's more like, oh yeah, I feel responsible. That's why I kind of still want to do that. But if that's like the only reason that would draw you back, I don't think you should. If you said your feelings are more messy, right? If the messy part is really that you feel responsible but you still want to be separated, just don't do it. Because that's unfair for you, that's unfair for them, that's just unfair. I think no one wants to be in a relationship that's out of like pity or because someone feels responsible for something. I don't think that's nice. That's not something to build your relationship on. So I think maybe you should really think about your feelings. Why do you feel messy? Why do you feel responsible? Sort these things out. Do a list where it's like, why do I want to be together with her? Why do I not want to be together with her? And then maybe think about, okay, so what do I want to do now? Like, what is my end result of that? Because if you say you're messy, it's like you're all over the place. You don't know what you want, and maybe that will help you notice what you want more. And maybe, maybe even ask someone that knows you both and knows what your relationship was like and knows stuff about you. Maybe be like, hey, I'm not feeling confident about things. What do you think? I don't know. I think that's kind of what I would do. I don't know. I feel like.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I don't think you need to feel responsible for somebody. I just think that's the bottom line. Right, it's not like you coerce someone into a relationship. You both entered a relationship, and whether you're the first or not, like, talking about the no contact rule and stuff, I think if you feel so here's what I'll say. Let me walk that back. I think the one thing you could be responsible for, as the person with more experience here, is this broke up and stayed friends after, when I feel like once you've had a couple relationships, you learn exactly what Spite's saying. Like, you get relationship withdrawals. I'm a hard, firm believer that nobody can break up and just be friends after. Now, bar the situation of like, we dated for 2 weeks and then we just broke up because it wasn't working. I'm talking like real relationship. I am a firm believer that it is impossible for you to break up and to be friends after. Let me clarify. What I'm saying is, be friends after immediately, right? Not in the future. You could be friends in the future. That's possible. But as soon as you break up, there needs to be space. There needs to be that no contact rule. And it's hard, but literally it's the best thing. Right? It's the best thing you can do for someone is do that, like, no contact rule. And you let her be alone. Right? Let your best friend be alone a month, 2 months, something like that. And then you check back in. Hey, how you doing? Right? And look for red flags. If your partner's like, oh my God, I missed you so much. I'm so happy to hear from you. Like, and they're acting like there's, they're not over you. Keep it light and go back to having more space, until you're not getting those feelings. But yeah, no, it's, if it's her first relationship, it's her first breakup too. And she doesn't know any better. And you do. So that's what I would say. That's my take on that. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else on that?
No.
No? All right. Okay, let me see this one. Okay, interesting question. I think I'd like to hear your takes on this. So this question asks, I am a guy that has always had issues with other guys out of a not gay kind of a panic. Only recently have I questioned if I am actually into guys. But there isn't a clear sign to that. I know I'm interested in women, but whatever I feel with guys is both explosive and kind of numb. Is there a clear sign to that sort of thing? Or do I need to actually date a guy to explore that?
So you've had issues with guys out of a not gay kind of panic. Sometimes people project and they try to get in this if they are gay, they may project and be like, I'm not gay, or maybe antagonize others who are noticeably are or who are out. That is something that happens, which I would try to stray away from that. I think there are ways to explore whether you are gay or not, but I do not believe that you should try to date gay men and possibly hurt their feelings if you're not sure if you are gay or not, because I feel like that could be very unfair to your partner personally, because what if they fall for you, turns out you aren't gay, and you're in a awkward predicament there. There are ways to, you could watch gay porn or something like that. Try to explore yourself sexually in that type of way without leading anyone on and without shaming others for being gay as well.
I feel like a lot of people, depending on when you, it probably doesn't even depending on when and where you grow up, but I feel a lot of people have this stigma of like being gay is bad. I'm not gay. And that's why you like cut yourself off. And that's why you have these panics where it's like, I can't be gay. It's bad. Even though it's not. And because society told you that growing up probably. And I feel like you don't have to do anything because you don't need to know if you're bisexual. You don't need to know that right now. You can also just go on with your life, and maybe at some point you will find someone. Maybe it might be a guy that you like very much. And maybe you will figure yourself out then. But I would not go and forcefully date a random guy just because you want to test your sexuality. I don't feel like that would be fair to anyone. Not to yourself and not for the person, because it always also depends on the guy. I heard a lot of times that, especially with bisexuals that I know, maybe you can give me some hints on that. It really depends on, some people have like more preferences where they're like, I like girls more, but there's a specific type of guy I like, or I like guys more, but there's a specific type of girl I like. And maybe you are also in that kind of area where some guys just like you really don't care about, but some of them are like especially your type and they make you feel that way. Maybe that is something you're finding yourself in. I don't know though. It's really hard to judge because I don't know you.
I do believe you're right with the spectrum thing. I am bisexual and I definitely have my preferences as well. And I know my bisexual friends do. So it's definitely a spectrum. I agree with you on that one, 100%.
Yeah. I think it's okay. So here's the first thing I will say. It is very normal and common because of society for males to feel that like quote unquote I'm not gay panic, right? Because it has been stigmatized, because just all the, especially depending on where people live, like things like that, the culture, subcultures that they're from, it's very common. So the ability to recognize it is a huge step forward, right? Like it's very good for you to be able to understand that, right? Like a lot of people even allies or things like that can have like what we call internalized homophobia or internalized transphobia, like things like that, where it's not that they want to feel certain ways or whatever it might be. It's just like they've been socialized to see things a certain way, and they have to break it. They have to be aware and they have to see it, right? And they have to have that conversation with themselves where they say, it doesn't matter if I'm gay. The only real question here should be, am I interested in men or not, right? Like, does it do anything for me? And the other thing, right, that I will throw out there is that there are plenty of people who just find out that they like what they like. Like, you don't need to be hard pressed or stressed to put a label on yourself. You don't need to label yourself as straight or gay or bi or whatever it might be, right? Like, you can just be you, right? You can also be like we said, like attracted to a certain kind of thing, right? Like, I label myself as a lesbian, but I also probably more accurately label myself as like femme attracted. It's one of those things where like, if I met someone who identified as a man and I really clicked with them for whatever reason, like, am I opposed to that? Well, no, not because of some kind of label I've self-imposed. Like, if I like somebody, I like somebody, right? But that being said, my labels only exist to help get across like the most obvious and helpful explanations, I feel like, for my sexuality. Right. So I think when it comes down to it, you should just kind of put yourself in a position where you explore what you like in a like self-explore way, right? Yeah, definitely don't use other people, right? Don't use other people for your own like figuring it out, because you can figure things out like on your own first before you go and like interact with other people, or just let people know, right? Just communicate. As long as you communicate, then you're okay, right? Communicate this idea that like, I'm not really sure about my sexuality, but I think it might be nice to go out. There's nothing wrong with that. You've communicated that, and the person you talk to might be like, you know what, that's not really my thing. I don't want to be a part in your exploration of yourself. And someone else might be like, oh, okay, cool, sure. You know, you never know until you talk to someone. But at least, especially like when you've communicated, you've like created a consensual situation too, where someone knows where your head's at and all that kind of stuff. I think that makes things feel better. And then the type of people too, yeah, like, you know, there are so many different kind of men, there are so many different kind of women, there are so many different kind of non-binary people. Like, there's just so many different kinds of people and the way they express themselves and things that are attractive or not attractive to you, right? You may be attracted to certain masculine features or a certain kind of man, and not be attracted to others. That's valid, right? Anyone who's attracted to women, right? If you're a lesbian, if you're a straight dude, like whatever it might be, if you're attracted to women, you know, like, you are probably not attracted to literally every single woman that exists in the world, right? Same thing goes for people who are attracted to men. They're not attracted to every single man that exists. Like, there are some things that are attractive, some things that are not attractive to them. It is okay to explore. Just explore responsibly, I think is what I say. Yeah. Spend time in a non-sexual way with guys that pique your interest. That's pretty safe and can help. I think that's a good point. Yeah. If it makes you feel something, or it makes you, you know, that's kind of a good area too, I will say. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that from you two?
Nope.
Nah? Okay. 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 We've been going a bit over 2 hours. You want to take one more, and then we'll call it for tonight. I'm getting a
Okay.
little sleepy too. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do one more.
All right.
We've been getting a lot. I'm everyone who's popping up in chat and asking us questions. I have to say, I really love being able to get your scenarios and your questions and answer them. So thank you so much for submitting stuff. Thank you for, giving us stuff to chat about and stuff to talk to. And I've really appreciated hearing, the insights you two have. And I've been really, really been enjoying hearing about, the scenarios that you all are presenting to us. Okay. Let's see. Okay, how about we take two more? I see two that I like,
Okay.
that I want to get to. Okay. So, first one, someone asks, being someone on the spectrum, I'm assuming we're talking about the ASD spectrum, autism spectrum, I find that often I feel immediately overwhelmed or overstimulated, even from regular touches. On top of being very touch-starved, is there any advice that you have to adjust to these difficulties? I've only had experience with one person and felt very overwhelmed and not in a good way. What I'll start off with is there is nothing wrong with feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated. Plenty of people not on the spectrum can feel overwhelmed or overstimulated from things like that. That might be a contribution to just you might get overstimulated with other things in general, but like I just want to put that out there that it's an extremely common occurrence. Yeah. You all want to say anything before I say more about that? Give your thoughts on this question?
Honestly, I think that communication is very important. And I know that possibly, when you're on the spectrum, sometimes communication can be difficult. That is something that can be, that I know with someone on the spectrum, that's how things can be. But if you are able to, I think that you should talk to the person and see if you can take things slowly and just let them know what you are comfortable with in the moment. I would definitely communicate with them as well that you are on the spectrum and that if you are a person who has hard time communicating, it's kind of, but you can just say to them like, I have issues with this as well. So that's what I think. A lot of the questions today are things where, it's definitely relates to communication. I think that this is definitely a big one.
Yeah. Shara, anything from you?
It's really difficult for me to give a proper answer because I don't know that much about being on the spectrum. So I think I can't really give a really good advice that I would feel comfortable with giving someone because I don't have any experience or
Sure.
and I don't want to say something where I'm not sure about.
Sure. Yeah, I know that for some people on the spectrum, it can be hard to communicate ideas to someone else, but it is definitely something that if you have figured out the best and easiest way for you to communicate, you should try to communicate those things. I think just letting someone know, like, I get easily overwhelmed or overstimulated from touch because I'll say you're not alone, right? There are other people who are the same way. I've been in many relationships. I've been in, like, I'm someone, I like touch, right? I also get overstimulated sometimes, but it's not the same thing all the time. But in general, I really like affection, physical touch, stuff like that. And not every partner I've been with has been the same way. Some are very affectionate and some are not very affectionate. Some like me being affectionate and some don't like me being affectionate. And you just kind of go along with whatever the person says that they like or don't like, right? And the same thing goes for you, right? If you communicate that you're someone who gets really overwhelmed or overstimulated by things, you can just let your partner know that. And if they're a compatible partner, they will be respectful of that, and you know, they'll make sure that you're comfortable. Yeah. I think that's really the way to take that. All right. Anything else?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Last one then that we'll take tonight. And this is
That's good.
a friend of mine once dated another friend of mine. Now they're split up. But it's very clear that one still has feelings for the other. It makes things uncomfortable for me because I'm stuck in between. I don't know if this counts for stream, but is there a way to express how you two need to be separated a little further? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with two friends who are broken up?
So they're basically saying that like they're affected by how, you know, by their relationship, like the friend is affected by the relationship that they no longer have. Is basically what they're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
They could literally just say like, hey, I would like to spend time with you two separately. You know, like I feel more comfortable spending time with, you know, you by yourself than you by yourself. That could be a way of like communicating that to them. Yeah.
I had a friend years ago. It's been very long. I'm not really friends with him anymore, but he used to be really into that girl, and that girl kind of made it really clear that she's not into him, but she still kind of appreciated the affection. And he would always kind of run after her and do stuff for her, and would always like come running when something happened, you know, that kind of stuff. And we always tried to tell him that it's like bad and he shouldn't be doing that. And that's, you know, it's obvious that she just does that because he, you know, is very convenient for her. You know, she was not a very nice person. And we tried to tell him that like a lot. And the problem was that in the end, your friend will do what he wants to do. And that sounds, it's stupid. And maybe you're not able to directly help him the way you wish you could, because in the end, he might still, or she, I don't know, they might still want to do these things, even though they're not necessarily smart in that moment. And I think that's what's the most annoying about this, is that you can't really make decisions for someone else. You can just give them hints, you can give them advice, you can tell them what maybe is good for them. Like we talked earlier, it's basically a similar situation about separating themselves completely for like a while. But they have to do that. You can't really go and be like, I'm gonna check your phone now. Are you still talking to them? You know, you can if you're like really best friends with them. Maybe you can. I don't know. Really depends on your friendship, but it's difficult. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think communication of letting someone know gently, hi, I want to be there for you. You're my friend. However, I'm getting kind of stressed out being in the middle. I'm seeing X or Y, like I'm seeing this stuff happen. This seems unhealthy. You seem upset. They seem upset. You know, you seem like you are maybe not over your feelings and you're putting yourself in a rough position. I think you should get some space. Or they seem like, you know, you tell the other person like whatever, and be like, just communicating this stuff clearly. But I think making people know, sometimes they forget that they're not the only person affected, and that even though like their relationship doesn't affect you directly, it's valid, you know, it's perfectly valid to say and put out there that idea that I am affected by the what's going on, right? It stresses me out. It adds to this discomfort, whatever it might be. That's all fine. Right. Yeah. All right. Anything else on that one?
No.
No? All right. All right. All right. Well, yeah, that is that collab command. I know I saw somebody asking. I was here tonight with Spite and Shirahiko. Two very wonderful content creators and two very wonderful guests tonight with me. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your thoughts and opinions on everything. It was really insightful. I really, I always like to hear people's takes on things, especially from, people's unique life experiences and stuff like that. So thank you so much for making time for me. I know it's late for you, Spite, and I know it's early for you, Shira. So thank you so much.
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll throw out again
Appreciate
this
it.
collab command. Please, chat, make sure you go and follow both Spite and Shira. I really would appreciate it. And if you're new here and you want to drop a follow here, you haven't yet already, that's cool too. I'll go ahead and give you my socials. Oh yeah, Win, thank you. I'll go ahead and give you my socials. That's everywhere that I create content. So you can check that out. And then also here is our Discord. You can join the Discord, and if you go to the Roles channel when you get in, you can opt in to getting notifications so you can see every time I go live. If you enjoyed tonight's show and you want to be back for more, or your question didn't get answered, come back next week. Every Friday, I'll make an announcement. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be traveling on the Sunday after next, so I might end up having a pause next week on my show just to give myself some time to pack and get my head in order and stuff, because I'm going to be going over to Canada. Oh, Spite vanished.
He's gone.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be traveling next weekend, so I may have a pause on next week. But otherwise, I will see you next week, next Friday at 9 p.m. Basically, every other week I'm here Friday at 9 p.m. You can always resubmit. You're okay. You can always resubmit a question if you didn't get it answered this week. But anyway, when can we catch y'all next? When are you streaming next week?
I am streaming again tomorrow. Sorry, my internet died.
Oh, you're good.
I'm streaming again tomorrow. I think I might start at 12 p.m. depending on when I wake up. But yeah, I'm streaming again tomorrow.
Okay.
Today,
yeah.
technically,
Yeah.
12 p.m. EST.
In about 12 hours. When can we find you next year?
Oh, sorry. For me, it kind of depends on how I feel. Maybe later, in like 3 hours, maybe not. Maybe next week, Tuesday, at the same time. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. Sometimes I will pop up, and sometimes I will not pop up. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you again. I really appreciate it. I had a really wonderful time. Sometimes I keep going after this, but tonight I'm feeling I'm feeling a little bit sleepy, and I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna run over to Fen's stream after this. I'm gonna go over to I'm gonna go over to Fenzi, and we'll go give her some love. But yeah, we'll have a raid message. We'll say, are you winning? There we go. Are you winning, hun? And then we'll drop a little heart. There we go. That's a raid message tonight. Go ahead and copy that, and we can give her some love. But anyway, I really appreciate y'all coming. Thank you so much. Thank you, you two.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. I will see y'all soon. Let's go give Fenzi some love. I will be hanging out over with Fenzi in just a couple minutes after I get up and stretch and all that stuff. Playing some Battlegrounds over there. But yeah, I will see you later. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.